In 2010, a woman named Lisa Borden moved into an old house in San Pedro, California, unaware of the dark force that awaited her. From the first night, Lisa felt something was wrong. The air inside the house was heavy, and she often had the sensation of being watched. Doors creaked open on their own, and at night, she heard footsteps pacing outside her bedroom door. Then came the dreams, violent, suffocating nightmares, where a shadowy figure loomed over her, whispering threats in an ancient language she couldn't understand. One night, Lisa was jolted awake by the feeling of hands wrapping around her throat. She gasped for air, flailing as an unseen force pinned her down. The moment she managed to scream, the pressure vanished. Terrified, she installed security cameras inside her home. The footage showed something horrifying: doors opening and slamming shut with no one near them, dark figures moving through the hallways, a chair sliding across the kitchen floor on its own. She contacted a paranormal investigator who conducted an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, session. The recorder picked up an ominous whisper: "Get out or die." Lisa's breaking point came when she woke up to deep scratches on her arms. That same night, her friend, who was staying over for support, saw a tall, shadowy figure standing at the foot of Lisa's bed. When she turned on the light, the figure vanished, but Lisa's mirror shattered violently on its own. She fled the house that night and never returned. The new owners of the home reportedly experienced the same disturbances and moved out within months. To this day, with some paranormal investigators claiming it is one of the most haunted locations in California. In 2005, a young couple, John and Linda Tallman, moved into a modest home in rural Wisconsin with their 2 children. What began as a dream home quickly became a nightmare as a sinister force took hold. At first, the disturbances were mild objects moving on their own, disembodied whispers in the hallways. Then, their daughter began waking up screaming, claiming a dark thing was watching her from the corner of her room. John, a skeptic, dismissed it as nightmares until he saw the shadow himself. One night, as he walked past his daughter's room, he saw a tall, dark figure standing over her bed. The instant he turned on the light, the figure vanished. The presence grew stronger. Doors slammed shut on their own, chairs moved without reason, and guttural growls echoed through the house at night. The couple set up cameras, but they always malfunctioned when something paranormal happened. Linda began suffering from night terrors, waking up with deep scratches on her back. Their son, who had been a happy and social child, became withdrawn, whispering to an unseen entity in his closet. One night, John woke up to Linda screaming. She was pinned to the bed by an unseen force, her body rigid. When John tried to help, an invisible force flung him across the room. In the darkness, a raspy voice hissed, "Leave." The next day, a priest came to bless the house, but he left shaken. He advised them to move out immediately, saying he had never felt such an overwhelming evil before. The family left within 24 hours. The house remained vacant for years, and every attempt to sell it ended in failure. To this day, locals claim to see shadowy figures in its windows, long after it was abandoned. In February 2011, the Ammons family, LaToya Ammons, her mother Rosa Campbell, and LaToya's 3 children, ages 7, 9, and 12, moved into a rented house located at 3868 Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana. The single-story ranch-style home seemed like an ordinary place to start a new chapter in their lives. However, within weeks of moving in, strange occurrences began to unfold. LaToya first noticed small, unexplainable phenomena, such as doors opening and closing by themselves, footsteps echoing through empty hallways, and eerie whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. At first, she dismissed these incidents as figments of her imagination or natural explanations like drafts or settling noises. But soon, the disturbances escalated into something far more sinister. Members of the household claimed they were physically harmed by unseen forces. Bruises, scratches, and bite marks appeared on their bodies without any logical explanation. One particularly alarming incident involved LaToya's youngest son being thrown across the room by an invisible entity. LaToya described how her mother, Rosa, would suddenly enter trance-like states where her voice changed dramatically, speaking in deep tones or languages neither she nor anyone else in the family understood. During these episodes, Rosa exhibited superhuman strength, making it difficult for others to restrain her. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of the case was the behavior of LaToya's children. Her eldest daughter claimed to see shadowy figures watching her at night, while her middle child repeatedly spoke about communicating with spirits. Most disturbingly, the youngest boy allegedly levitated off his bed during one episode witnessed by multiple people, including a police officer. The house itself appeared to be affected by the alleged haunting. Lights flickered unpredictably, appliances turned on and off by themselves, and foul odors permeated certain rooms. Witnesses also reported seeing apparitions and hearing disembodied voices threatening the family. On March 10, 2011, things reached a breaking point when LaToya called 911 after witnessing her youngest son seemingly levitate. Officers arrived at the scene and were stunned by what they encountered. According to reports, they observed unusual physical evidence, such as claw marks on walls and furniture moved inexplicably. One officer even claimed to feel an oppressive presence inside the home. The responding officers documented their findings in official police reports, which later became public records. These documents included statements from neighbors corroborating some of the strange happenings, further lending credibility to the family's claims. As word spread about the haunting, local churches took notice. Reverend Aaron Babb, a pastor from nearby Merrillville, Indiana, agreed to visit the home along with several members of his congregation. Upon entering the house, Reverend Babb reportedly felt an overwhelming sense of evil. He conducted multiple exorcisms over several months, believing the family was dealing with demonic entities rather than mere ghosts. During one exorcism session, Rosa allegedly went into convulsions and began speaking in tongues, prompting the group to intensify their prayers. While Reverend Babb claimed the rituals eventually subdued the negative energy, the family continued to experience residual paranormal activity long afterward. The case attracted the attention of paranormal investigators, including Zach Bagans, host of the popular TV show Ghost Adventures. Bagans visited the property in 2014 and conducted an investigation alongside his team. Using specialized equipment, they captured audio recordings of disembodied voices, video footage of shadowy figures, and electromagnetic spikes throughout the house. Bagans described the Ammons case as one of the most intense and credible hauntings he had ever encountered. His findings aired on an episode of Ghost Adventures, bringing national attention to the story. In late 2011, the Ammons family decided they could no longer endure living in the house and moved out. They relocated to another part of Indiana, but claimed the haunting followed them to their new residence. Over time, the frequency and intensity of the paranormal activity reportedly diminished, though sporadic incidents persisted. The original home on Carolina Street remained vacant for years before being demolished in 2019. Its demolition did little to quell public fascination with the case, which continues to inspire debates about the existence of the paranormal. Every year, on February 14th, the streets of Ogunquit transform into a whimsical wonderland of red and pink hearts. Delicate paper cutouts adorn buildings, trees, lampposts, and storefronts, each one intricately designed with lace-like patterns and cheerful messages. For decades, these decorations appeared overnight, without fail, left behind by an elusive figure known only as the Valentine Phantom. The legend began in 1976, though some say it might go back further. On Valentine's Day morning, residents woke up to find their town blanketed in handmade hearts. No one saw who put them there. No footprints, no broken locks, no signs of forced entry, just hundreds of beautiful creations scattered throughout the village. At first, people thought it was a prank, but year after year, the hearts returned, always more elaborate than before. For years, the phantom brought joy to Ogunquit. Children eagerly awaited the arrival of the decorations, businesses thanked the mysterious decorator, and tourists flocked to witness the phenomenon. Yet questions lingered. Who was behind it? Was it a single artist working tirelessly in secret? A group of friends keeping a decades-long tradition alive? Or something else entirely? Then came 2018. For the first time in over 40 years, the hearts didn't appear. Panic set in. Had the phantom retired, passed away, or worse, had something sinister happened? But then, in 2019, the hearts reappeared, more stunning than ever. Since then, the phantom has continued their work, leaving behind masterpieces that spark both delight and unease. Some wonder, is this truly an act of love, or is there something darker motivating the phantom? After all, why would someone dedicate so much time and effort to remain anonymous for nearly half a century? Tonight, as you walk under the glowing streetlights of Ogunquit, ask yourself, could the Valentine Phantom be watching you right now?